Yo, what is up? What's been happening? Welcome back to another episode of Those Car Dudes. Tonight is a very exciting night because Nathan finally will have his E36 back on the road. And Nathan, it's been a while since your car has been driven.
It's been ages. It's been like 4 months. It's no kidding. My car failed Warren of Fitness on lower control arms.
And he just couldn't be bothered doing anything about it.
That's not true. I've been
very
working
true.
on your car for like 8 months.
That's true.
That's the real reason.
Sylvias take time, and everyone knows that.
They do take time. A lot of time.
Sanding,
too much time.
And sanding.
When was the last time we made a video, JD? Anyway, we are here tonight. We're going to replace these. We're going to show you how to replace the lower control arms on your E36. And we're going to get this car back on the streets.
Let's go.
An update on the E30 and
Well, Nathan, do you want to give the viewers an update on the E30?
It's ready for a paint shop.
Well, it's exactly where we left it last time, right?
That is, you know what? Maybe where you left it, but I've done heaps on this car. I have done so much on this car, and like, it is ready for the paint shop. I just cannot find a paint shop that wants to paint it, JD. That is the problem. So, if you know of a paint shop, or you are a paint shop yourself, you are a paint shop.
Or if you're a painter and
you're a painter or you work at a paint shop, then flick us a DM, hit us up in the comments, or whatever, because I need to find a painter because it's ready to go. I've got some money saved up and I want to paint it. Everybody I've talked to is like, nah, I don't want to do it, so or not replying. So yeah.
It's a bit of a pickle, Nathan.
I'm in a bit of a pickle at the moment. This jack is the definition of stance life. Look how low it is, bro.
It's such a cool jack.
Look how low it is.
It's such a cool jack.
This is like one of my favorite things at this garage.
What's your least favorite?
The E30?
No, I love that car. It's just not painted yet. So, if you're a painter or you're a paint shop, then please flick me an email. Once you've got your car jacked up in the air and both front wheels are off the ground on jack stands, then you just want to take your wheel off. And once you've got your wheel off, you'll be able to access the lower control arm really easily. Once you've got the wheel off the car, you can have a look at all the areas where the nuts and the bolts need to come undone to drop the front lower control arm out. The first one over here is this ball joint going through the knuckle of the hub. There's a nut on the top side of this that needs to come undone, and then we need to separate the ball joint from that hub. We've got another ball joint over here, and that goes all the way through the cross member here that's holding the engine to the car, and there's a nut on the top side of that cross member that holds this ball joint in. And lastly, we've got the lollipop bushing here, and that's held in with this housing by 2 bolts here that need to come out. To remove the ball joints from the car, you'll need a ball joint removal tool. You can often use a heavy hammer and whack the side of the ball joint to release it, and sometimes that works. However, it is easier to have a ball joint removal tool like the one I've got here. You can get a bunch of different ball joint removal tools. There's a whole range for all different scenarios, but this one here we find is the easiest one to use for this particular job. I recommend having some lubricant that you can spray on, and then it like loosens up the ball joints, and so it's much easier for it to release, because often they can get seized in there. Also some earmuffs, because when you're doing this for any length of time, man, you get a headache. One thing to note, that I've got aftermarket suspension, I've got coilovers, so my end links are different, but normally you would have an end link that connects to the lower control arm, and you will need to loosen the nut on that as well, so it separates from the old arm and onto the new one later. To remove the ball joint, we're gonna bash this in here, stab it in, knock it, knock it, knock it again until it is as far up this wedge as possible, and hopefully by then it would have separated.
Well, Nathan, you've done a great job there. Look how that is now separated.
That's separated. There we go.
And that's going to be a great step for you to move forward into replacing your control arms and then getting off to driving your car back on the road.
Woo! I'm going to undo these 2 bolts. I'm going to take the nut off that we loosened before, and then I'm going to go back to this inner one. Did you just hit my car, bro? I've just got this ready for paint, bro, and here you are hitting my car.
I was just encouraging your car, right?
Encouraging it. Hey, if you're a painter or a paint shop, can you let me know, because I need to find a... The next ball joint we're going to remove is the one that goes through the cross member. Now this has a big 22mm nut on the top of the cross member, and you can try and access it from the top, but it's actually probably more difficult. I was trying it earlier. Doesn't really work. The best way to access it is getting a spanner just like this one and putting it through the front, and then you can kind of get a couple of mils, and unfortunately it's a little bit tedious because you got to do that for a little while until it comes undone. But then once it comes undone, we can get our friend out again and just prong that thing off there, and then woo, let's do it.
You just smack tools together, bro. I'm pretty sure that's like illegal in some countries.
I've loosened that nut. It's still on there just by a couple of threads. Now we're going to use
Can you
our
stop
friend.
shouting?
Okay. We've got those lollipop bolts out. We've got this one out from the outer ball joint. And so now we're going to give this outer ball joint just another hit with our 2-prong thing here. And then she should separate completely. Oh, there we go. What do you know? So now that we've got all of that separated, we can push this out of the way. And we can have another go at whacking this one out. Oh, look at that spider.
Oh my gosh, Nathan.
Thanks. Whoa, out it comes. Now we're just gonna loosen that bolt. It's on the top. Take it right off. And she'll be good as gold. And she's out.
Nice, Nathan.
It's a boy!
Well, there it is, Nathan, all out, and well, the new one's ready to go back in. Why is your E30 so jacked?
Because it doesn't have an engine in it. So if you're an engine, or you work with the engines, then and you live in Auckland, let us know, eh?
Whoa, Nathan, is that a those car dudes t-shirt?
Official merchandise.
Where'd you get that from, bro?
Gosh, some losers on the internet. I can't remember. To get your lower control arm ready to go back in the car, you need to remove this lollipop and its bushing from the lower control arm. I replaced these bushings a couple of years ago with Powerflex ones, and they've got a lifetime warranty, so I was like, well, they still look in pretty good shape. But if you've got the standard stock ones in there, now's a really good time to upgrade these. You'll need this bit as well, which can actually, if you can't pull it off with your hand, you can use a gear puller, and it actually works quite well, so that's what I'm gonna do. This is the Tool Pro kit that Super Cheap gave us. This is a whole bunch of different types of like ball joint removal tools, and also you can probably use them as gear pullers and stuff as well. For this thing here, I'm gonna use this bad boy. Pop that on there, unscrew that. I've also chucked some anti-seize grease on the threads and the nuts to the lower control arm, so the next person that has to work on the car won't have a complete mission on their hands trying to undo seized bolts. Now we're ready to put it in. We're gonna do it in reverse. The way that we took it out is how we're gonna put it in pretty much. So I'm gonna take this nut off here and I'm gonna put in this one first through the cross member, and I'm just gonna hand tight the nut on the top side, and then we're gonna do the other two. Once you've got this one through on the cross member, you want to do your outer one next. So you can move this whole hub assembly around a bit, and this actually does move because it's a ball joint. So you can move that round inside there too. Get it through the hole there, and you can chuck the nut on. Because there's two holes, if you use a screwdriver in one of the holes, and you can poke it through and locate that hole while you put the bolt in the other one next to it. Once you get the bolt in that one, you can pull the screwdriver out and put the bolt in the other one. The two bolts holding in the lollipop bushing, you can torque those up to 42 Newton meters with a torque wrench. The other two bolts with the ball joints, the nuts on those, well, you can't really get a torque wrench in there. There's not enough room, so there is torque specs for them, but I can't get my torque wrench in there, so I'm just gonna tighten them up as best as I can with a spanner, and they should be fine.
Finally, it is ready, Nathan. You can now enjoy your E36 and get it back on the road. It wasn't even that hard of a job. Easy couple of fixes needed for your warrant of fitness, but now you can take it back and say, sucker, it is ready for the road.
Yes, absolutely. It has been a very humbling 4 months driving my mother's VW Cross Polo. Yes, it's automatic 1.6.
We weren't friends for like 4 months, eh?
No, we haven't spoken until now, so that's why there hasn't been many videos. That is how you change the front lower control arms on your E36. We hope this video helped you guys, and we are super excited to show you what's coming with the Silvia, with my E30. There's plenty more to come.
We've been busy, and it has been taking a bit of time, but we're so excited to show you guys what's been happening on the S14 particularly, and ooh, it's good. It's good news.
On that note, I'm not sure if the people know, but I'm actually looking for a painter or a paint shop that is willing to paint my E30.
I don't think they know that.
So if you know of a place, or you are a place, then please let us know. But aside from that, guys, make sure you follow us on Instagram, hit that sub button, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace out. Nathan.
Yeah.
I've just discovered that there's this like lens flare on this camera that you kind of like get in like the high-end like filmmaking like camera shots that you see in movies. Like, this is kind of cool, bro. Look at this. This is amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, wow.
I'm just gonna pretend I can see it.
Look at that.
Oh my gosh, it looks incredible.
Ooh, it's like a Star Wars movie. Zoom, 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 zoom. Pew, 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 pew.
Yeah, dude.
I was playing with this lens flare, bro. It's so cool. Look at this. Woo, woo.
Do we get shots of this?
Ooh. Ooh. It looks awesome, bro. It's like a little floating line, bro. It's so good.